تجمع أبد ما تفرق، شمس علينا تشرق ونورها بكل بيت. الغيمة اللي تنظر ورد وربيع أخضر، عن غيرها ما تقصر والعالية بالصيت. بالطيب دايم تسبق تجمع أبد ما تفرق، شمس علينا تشرق ونورها بكل بيت. حي البلاد الطيبة المسالمة الحبيبة، أوصف غلاها صعبة وإن قلت ما وفيت. الديرة هذه جنة فيها الفرح يتغنى، دايم عسى تتهنى على النبي صليت، أشر على الكويت يا سامعين بسم الله عليها كل آمين، يا ربي احفظها حميها يا سامعين.
Welcome back, dear viewers. Our third guest of the evening is none other than Mr. Hamza Taqi, the CEO of a coaching and training company. Good evening, Mr. Hamza.
Good evening.
How's your evening so far?
Great. We are celebrating the National Day, Liberation Day. Everything is good.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's such a joyous achievement, and especially after the coronavirus, we've been staying home for 2 years, and now the people are finally enjoying their National and Liberation Day.
It's
This
the
is very
best time.
important. Of course.
Yeah. When it comes to training people and something is really active around, it's like selling when it comes to selling and marketing. Let's talk about selling. Selling is not just selling by itself. It's not defined like it. A lot of people and researchers call it an art. So, Mr. Hamza, will you please tell us what is exactly the art of selling?
Yeah, it is an art and it is a science behind it. And really, selling is so dear to me as a profession or as a skill because my first job was in sales. So I started my life in selling, and I see selling as a skill, as a life skill. Everybody sells, whether knowingly or subconsciously. We sell to our kids a certain school, or we convince our parents to go into a certain vacation. When you negotiate, when you bargain, you are selling.
Exactly.
Of course, it is whether you're selling an idea or selling a product. There are a lot of different types of selling. You usually even sell yourself as a person, whether you're going to apply for a job. That's even another example.
Or the MPs, the member of parliament, they're selling themselves, in their speeches and stuff, so people vote for them.
Of course.
Sales is all over.
Of course, and as you mentioned, science and the art of selling is even a science and an art. So it's a fine line between them. And there are also 4 types of art of selling. So can you tell us more about that?
Well, there are many types, but the main ones are the B2B sales. That means business is selling to another business. That's the B2B. And then there is a B2C where the business is selling to the end user or the consumer or the customer. Victor Antonio came up with a term that is B2R, which is business to residential, because he thought that the residential requirement and needs is totally different than businesses, or and there is tricks on how to sell to residential. For example, if you're selling windows or doors for people who are building their villas, the approach is totally different than selling different products. Yes.
Yes.
And if you're talking about type, there is transactional selling, there is consultative selling, there is relationship selling, and there is a solution selling. So all these are different types, and different writers come up with different scheme, and we have to learn and to teach our employees how to do the sales.
Of course, that's very important. I even read about partnership selling. So there's a lot of different variety of selling, and you have to know it all in order to know your client need, also what you're going to sell and how to sell it. That's very important.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Absolutely.
And how can someone learn how to sell? That's one of the most important parts in your daily life. You even need this kind of skills.
Of course. See, we said it's an art and it's a science. The art actually is the communication part. Selling teaches you how to read people, how to stop talking in a certain time, and when to open your ears. So that's the art part of it. The science is there is a process.
Exactly.
If you follow the process, you will sell, and you will be amazing at selling by building relationship. Of course, you're selling something that someone else is needed. You don't push stuff like, and sometimes we ask, people, do you love selling? Say, no. I ask you, do you like selling?
I actually think it's kind of fun, and it's kind of a challenge
Wow,
to interact
really?
with other
Okay.
people and like sell your idea, whether it is a product, to know your clients. That's something very important. It takes a lot of thinking and a lot of brain behind this.
Then you have the right mindset, because most people, they say selling, they shy away, or they don't want to be in the sales role because they dread it because of maybe bad salespeople that we see.
Yes.
People who calls you, want to sell you vacuum cleaner or a filter, and they don't even ask you a question. Immediately they go into the presentation.
Exactly.
This product, and I look at them and I say, okay, I don't need the filter, or I don't need the, it's not
Exactly.
my need.
Of
They
course.
didn't ask me to find out what
They're
I
pushing
need
it
first.
like
They're
you.
just pushing, or like the sales, in America they have the used car salespeople. They make the car shining and stuff, and it's a wreck, but they tell you it's good. I saw one guy saying, it got your name on it. This is your car.
Yes.
Like this,
That's great.
forcing people to buy.
Exactly.
And of course, you don't get the benefit as a buyer.
Of course, they kind of like make you feel like you're kind of in a nervous way, so you kind of like go away from this kind of sell,
Absolutely.
of course, and you really want to connect with your client. You don't want to push them away, as they mentioned.
And unfortunately, they make their job also so stale. They cannot develop themselves like this. They have to achieve something or learn more about how to act with people or customers. They're getting smarter time by time.
Also,
The knowledge gap between the customer and the seller, one guy was showing on the TV, there was 4K, that sticker on the TV. And he asked him, what's 4K stands for? He said, 4 kilograms.
Well,
It's totally...
he doesn't even know his product.
Yes.
it's good for exercising to carry it. Then. It's
Very
good.
4K.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
So
really
it's-
great.
yeah.
So, Mr. Hamza
Yes.
Taqi, you have really amazing career.
Yeah.
And you have really amazing experience. So not everyone can be Hamza Taqi, because not everyone passed through what Hamza Taqi passed through. And also not everyone can be, let's say, a scientist. Not everyone can be an astronaut. Not everyone can be a singer, You have to have some characteristics to commit to. Like when it comes to sellers also, they're supposed to have characteristics. Like as you mentioned, for example, sometimes I go to the market or a shopping center. Some people chase me with perfumes, and I feel like, okay, let me try this perfume. Then they spray me with 5 or 6 different types. You pass by another seller, he also sells a perfume, or they also sell perfume. They give you just like a piece of paper with the sample of it, so you would smell it more and more nicely. Yeah, so there's a difference. Is there any characteristics that the seller have to commit to?
See, a good salespeople are people who listen to you as the buyer. They know what the buyer wants. Like we talked about transactional sales. Sometimes the buyer knows the product that they want. So they go and pick it up or ask the person to help them. I want this. That person just bring it from the store and give it to them and take the money, whatever the transaction is. Now, is this selling? No, it has nothing to do. This is order taking. You're just taking orders, like vending machine. You put the money and you choose the product that you want. But selling is more an art. It's like consultative. It's like when you go to the doctor. There are doctors that already the paper for the medication is already written. They just write your name, and even the stamp is there, and they give it to you. And there is a doctor that sits with you, and sit like next to you, and they ask you, if you have a coughing, for example, when do you cough? Is it in the morning, on the evening? Do you smoke? Are you a smoker? So they ask how many cigarettes, pack of cigarettes you smoke. So they ask you a lot of questions to really nail down the solution. And you feel good, and you pay them maybe more because they spend time with you, they listen, and then they offer the solution. That's their real consultative selling.
Of course, that's very important to build this kind of trust and relationship with your client. That's very important.
So you get repeated business. People will come back to you that way.
Exactly. So, Mr. Hamza, you have a lot of trainees and students you've taught throughout the years. Some of them, let's say this is an example, they take the paper and they write after you.
Yes.
And some of them, as far as I know, based on their mentality, they just have the purpose to learn and apply without feeling the customers or the people who's going to receive the offer or receive the merchandise they want to sell. So how is it important to sell a piece like it's really rare to sell or it's not easy to sell?
See, the hard sales, you mean the hard, it's the amount that you're spending, and that maybe the decision from the buyer will take a long time to decide.
Exactly.
Because it's a bigger ticket item. But if I go back to selling itself, it's when you are asking, like, first of all, in the process, first of all, you have to have a good, presence.
Exactly.
And not thinking too much about the product and focusing on the product.
It helps to convince.
Yes, make the connection with the buyer first. Find out what kind of people. Are they aggressive? Are they low key? Are they more socialized? Or they want to get to the results and solve the solution? So you need to read these people and then, ask good questions to identify the real pain that they have. And you, like a doctor, come with the solution for them. And that's where and when you we say, meet and greet, first of all, and then discover, asking questions, their concerns, you can even know their budget by asking certain questions. You can know what they come from, and then you present the solution that you have for them. And you focus on the benefit, not the feature. Because features tell, benefits sell. Because we want the benefit, and then we don't want the feature. So, after that, you close the deal. Now, you have some customer who will object. Like my mother, Allah yarhamha, كانت كلها bargaining, 50%. Like, how much is this? 10 KD. Oh, no, 5 KD is good. And then they reach, maybe 7 KD or something.
Yeah, I think all parents are kind of like that, especially mothers. They like to bargain a lot. Yeah. Especially in the old days, they used to bargain, going to the market. So I think that's one of the main reasons.
Very true. And the sellers, they know that. Exactly. So they know that this lady is going to bargain, so they give her the proper
higher
price, and then they go down. And some people, they know that this is not a bargaining. This guy is coming to buy, so they give them the last price. And then you say, but you didn't give me a discount. He said, I already gave you. This is it. That's the last price. Yes,
that's very important to know your clients, I think. To know their personality, as you mentioned, even their budget. So that's very important to ask the right questions.
Yeah, it's called customer persona.
Definitely.
They have like a picture of the buyer, their age, their hobbies, what they're concerned. So they really know that person and what sort of products and services they might require now or in the future, and they built on that.
Definitely. Of course, and we thank you so much for your time and
Thank
for
you
your
for
valuable information as well, and hopefully we'll have you again to talk more about business.
Sure, I'd love that.
Thank you so much. We learned a lot from you, Mr. Hamza, tonight, especially when it comes to selling items. Hope to see you soon and enjoy your evening.
Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure to have you here with us here in the studios of Halak Kuwait. Thank you. Dear viewers, we had with us Hamza Taqi, CEO of Coaching and Training Company. Let's move on to the national song. Stay tuned.
بفضل الله وعمرنا تطورنا وزاننا